I have Dollop tour dates to announce for the year 2024 of our Lord J-Town. We have our 10th anniversary show coming up in Los Angeles on April 27th. Guests are Karen Kilgariff and James Adomian. And then we are going to Australia, starting on May 13th in Perth, May 16th in Sydney, May 18th in Brisbane, May 20th in Canberra, May 22nd in Melbourne, and May 24th in Adelaide. You can get your tickets at dolloppodcast.com.
Alarm system active.
Protect your business with alarm detection systems. Family owned since 1968, ADS provides alarm installation by highly trained technicians with dedicated camera, card access, and fire teams. Enjoy ADS's professional 24/7 monitoring by live operators at our award-winning monitoring centers. Plus, same-day, next-day service available. Visit adsalarm.com to get a quote now. That's adsalarm.com.
Hello and welcome to the Dollop. My name is Dave Anthony. This is a bi-weekly podcast in which I read a story from American history to my friend.
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
All right. I thought you started doing a really good intro, and then it got real weird.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Sure.
It's hard to say the exact same tiny sentence every week.
I don't think it is. I think it's very easy.
It's very hard.
It's very easy.
God, you want to hit a dude?
I'll do one bottle.
People say this is funny.
Not Gary Gareth. Dave, okay.
Someone or something is tickling people.
Is it for fun?
And this is not going to become the Tickling Podcast.
Okay.
You are Queen Fakey of Made Up Town.
All hail Queen Shit of Liesville. A bunch of religious virgins go to mingle
And do what?
pray.
Hi, Gary.
No.
Nicely done, my friend. October 18th, 1855.
All right.
Mary Elizabeth Haley was born into a wealthy family in Belton, Texas.
Okay.
She would be nicknamed Libby.
Sure. That's fair.
Right?
Nothing crazy
Elizabeth,
yet.
Right? Elizabeth Libby.
I love it. I know a Libby.
Belton was a frontier town north of Austin, surrounded by rich soil. So a lot of farming going on, a lot of just people probably able to eat the soil because it's so rich.
Right. Rich, yeah.
And it was the last civilized place for people traveling west.
Okay, so you go past it,
Yeah, and
the soil's poor.
Yeah, poor soil.
Not like the other soil's like, we're off to the opera tonight. This soil's like, man, I can eat a can of beans.
What's that?
Yeah, I live in a boxcar.
That's the guy that's over.
I'm this soil. I'm poor soil.
He's over there.
Yeah. Look at all that rich soil and its rich ivory tower.
So that's out west.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you come here.
Okay.
Unless you got beans.
Okay. I don't want to go there now.
Come on. Give me your fucking beans.
Okay. Out west, train robbers and Comanche lived just beyond the town, and those heading to California were often attacked.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Libby's father ran a plantation and was very rich.
Okay, like the soil.
But the Comanches often raided farms and ranches in the area. They were after horses, supplies, and captives.
So they were taking prisoners off of the plantations.
Well, now this is a time when Native Americans have been decimated by diseases that were brought over.
They just weren't careful enough.
And obviously fighting with the white man, the
That's
battles
on
that
them.
occurred. So
That's not on us.
their numbers had dwindled. So one way to increase your numbers, take people and put babies in them.
Oh. Okay, so they were taking female captives.
Yeah.
And they would be impregnating the female captives.
Put a baby up in there.
Captive seems like a nice word for what is happening.
Because of this, most men in the area were always armed.
Okay.
Even though raids that got into Belton were rare.
Okay.
In the 1850s and 1860s, most Texans were in favor of slavery and joining the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Well, it's, come on.
Super different.
Texas' greatest hero once came to Belton to speak in favor of joining the Union, Sam Houston.
Okay.
But he was booed and shouted down.
Of course.
Yeah, well, maybe why wouldn't he? He's the greatest hero. Why would you want to hear what he has to say?
Shut him up.
I do not agree with your opinion.
No, listen to me. Jesus Christ.
One man there leading the anti-Houston yelling was James Haley, Libby's dad.
Okay.
He was super into slavery. I don't know if that's the correct term, but that's what I came up with. Super into slavery.
Super into it.
I'm just super into this, you guys.
Oh, my God. I'm loving it.
You know what I'm super into? Owning people.
Slavery. I'm just loving it.
And he was into secession, Texas, leaving, and all the southern states leaving.
Sure.
And his beliefs were passed to his daughter.
Okay, so she was also a free thinker.
Haley was one of the main reasons the town of Belton was a Confederate hotspot, right? So he's like the big rich man, and he brings in people that he hires like-minded and all that shit. More than 1,000 men from Belton joined up with the Confederacy and fought against the Union.
Okay.
And it didn't end there. During the war and after, mob violence ruled, which led to the hanging of a few Unionists in Belton.
They were hanged just because they were...
That's all I could find out of, but yeah, I assume so.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they were like, I don't like people being owned by people.
Well...
Lynch them!
Yeah.
String them up!
Teach them about the value of life and kill them.
You don't want to own other people? I'm going to end your life.
You think that's wrong? You think I have moral problems? Kill them!
Because so many men went off to war from Belton, there were not as many to handle the defenses around the town.
Okay.
Crime increased, and Comanche raiding parties figured out it was easier to get deeper into the area.
Guys, tonight we're going to have a raid party.
Going in far. We usually don't go past that fence.
Yeah.
Going past the fence.
Now, does this headdress go with these streamers?
Hello. Streamers?
Mm-hmm. Ribbons?
Ribbons?
Decorations?
Decorations?
Plates?
Plates?
Am I the only one who brought cake?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
The tribes were upset about the whites moving closer to the homelands and the loss of buffalo herds, so they figured we'll take what we can get from them.
Yeah,
right.
I get it. Is it just me, or do you always feel understanding to whatever the Native Americans are like? Anything they're doing, I'm always like, totally get it.
Oh yeah, no,
Like, totally
we are the When I read stories from history, even though I know what happened, I'm rooting for the Native Americans to win.
Slaves and Native Americans always.
I'm always like, come on, you guys can win this
Yeah.
one. And when I read about a story, like the story of the Nez Perce, I believe it was in Oregon, and they just slaughtered an American army. They like rode down on their horses, and they would hang on one side of the horse and shoot their arrows.
Yeah.
And they just decimated, and I was just like, yeah, baby.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Kill me. Kill my people.
The Comanche were not merciful in battle. They were considered to be some of the greatest horsemen in the world, which meant they could raid deep into territory, grab what they wanted, and be long gone before a search party was formed to chase them. And in 1864, they attacked the Haley plantation.
All right.
James Haley didn't have as many men as he used to fight them off because, being a big supporter of the Confederacy, many of them went off to fight.
Yep.
So the Comanche came and took what they wanted, one of which was 10-year-old Libby.
Oh, shit.
Didn't see that coming?
I mean,
it seemed like everything, like I put together all the pieces, and you should have seen it coming.
what is this? What's happening right now?
You should have seen it coming.
What's happening?
Her parents were devastated.
Are you giving me notes on how to dollop during a dollop? You prick.
Her parents were devastated because, they liked her. They were like, that's our kid.
Sure.
Right?
I would understand that being a tough thing to go through. Wild Native Americans have stolen our daughter. I can see that being a tough pill to swallow, yes.
But they had hope.
She'll be fine.
She's fine.
You know, in those situations where someone's like, something bad's happening and you say something to someone and you realize you've overstated it?
Yeah.
She'll be fine. She might be better. I shouldn't have said that. She won't be better. She won't be better. No, she's in trouble.
But they had hope because when the Comanche took kids, they usually adopted them or turned them into just slaves. Either way, there was a good chance Libby was still alive. They just needed to find her before she hit puberty because then she'd be married off, and that made it nearly impossible to buy her back.
Wow, what a great time this was to be alive.
Yeah, but now we got a ticking clock, right?
Yeah, but you're also, Now you have to buy your slave daughter, which has got to be weird for a plantation owner.
It's hard to.
It's not right to own another. Give me my daughter, you son of a bitch. Oh, them? They're black. That's fine. Come on, look at their skin. It's different. What are you talking about? You're a little dark too, my friend. I'll be honest.
My God. This is very ironic for me to have to pay this money.
A lot of people are wondering when I'm going to have that eureka moment. Not coming. Pick that cotton, motherfucker. Now my daughter needs her freedom. She's a human being.
They put out a word to trappers, hunters, traders, and the Texas Rangers. And everyone knew they had to get her back.
Baseball team?
Yeah.
I like where we're headed.
I know, right?
That's smart.
Everyone knew they had to get her back before she was changed for good through either marriage or abuse. Haley thought if either of those things happened, his daughter would no longer be accepted by polite Texas society.
Well, doesn't that really say something about Texas society that you can get kidnapped and then chastised?
Oh. James Haley would rather Libby died at the hands of the Comanche than be deflowered.
Wow, that's
pretty reasonable.
Bold.
Pretty reasonable.
Bold policy.
Yeah. Fairly, shall I say, when people point out stuff about Muslim extremists,
yeah.
very,
short-sighted.
Very similar.
Yeah.
But the years went by. 3 years exactly. And because she was nearing puberty, the Haleys were losing all hope. Then, in 1867, they learned Libby was with a nearby tribe. The tribe wanted a ransom, and the Haleys paid it. James Haley thought it had been way too long, and she was probably soiled.
Oh, God.
And he was right. When he laid eyes
She was rich soil, though.
Yeah, she was rich soiled. When he laid eyes on his daughter, he saw she was now a woman and that she didn't have any signs of abuse, which meant to him that she gave in to their demands. In other words, she'd had sex with some Comanche.
And this is based on seeing her.
Yeah, she looked fine, but she was now a woman.
She looked fine, but clearly she was sucking a lot of Native American dick.
That's exactly
how healthy she
it.
looks. That's not the face of a girl who said no once. Probably ran a goddamn train on her, like a fucking clown car.
Jesus.
Everyone get in. Unbelievable, you whore. Whore!
Oh, Daddy.
Oh, I mean, hello, Libby.
Libby was thrilled to be home, but the welcome she dreamed of for 3 years was not coming. Her dad was cold to her. He just knew a penis had been inside of her, even though he couldn't see it.
You don't need to see it, Dave.
You don't need to see
Once
it.
you've invented it.
Once it's in your head, you can't get it out of there.
Yeah.
At the time, people were prejudiced against former slaves, especially women slaves, and even more so if she had hit puberty.
So
They were known as marked women.
Ah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Marked women?
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a hit out on them.
Well, there may as well have been.
Oh, God. So the marked women were basically scarlet lettered.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, pretty great.
Great.
James Cold Feelings.
And keep in mind that she was kidnapped.
Right. This is none of it. She was kidnapped as a child.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that I'm saying keep in mind to you.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, keep in mind when we're talking about this.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
For you, to let you know how to do this. Keep that in mind.
James' cold feelings toward his daughter rubbed off on the rest of the family, and soon the town of Belton. After a little while, no one would have anything to do with her. And her father decided he couldn't let her get married because she had a Comanche penis inside of her, obviously.
Sure.
And to make it worse, when he tried to ask what had happened, Libby would not talk about it, which was very common of former slaves of Native American tribes.
Yeah, it's
because they didn't feel
trauma.
safe talking to anybody.
Yeah, and it's trauma.
Because it wasn't like they were like,
yeah.
Oh my God, tell me what happened. They're like, tell me what happened.
This is a safe place.
Right.
Did you see a dick? Get out of here, you whore.
Libby was completely alone. Her friends and old neighbors avoided her, and when they did see her, they wouldn't speak to her. They called her Squaw Woman. She's 13.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when Mowgli returned.
Who?
The Jungle Book kid.
Okay. Unfortunately, this was very common for kidnapped girls who were returned. Some would actually go back to the tribes that had kidnapped them.
Yeah, because they're
probably because they're treated better by the kidnapping tribe.
Hey.
But Libby was not one who wanted to return to the Comanche, even if she was a social outcast. When she turned 14, she met and fell in love with an older man who didn't care about her past. He just wanted her.
I'm very wary as to how old this man
He's
is.
just 10 years older.
Okay.
It's not that bad.
So he's 24 and she's
24,
14.
she's 14. Which is normal for back then.
Hey, it's normal now to me. Fist bump? Fist
14 was a
bump it
marrying
out.
age.
Can I get
There
a
it
fist
is.
bump? Hey,
yeah,
all right.
girl.
Wait, I think we're going to
that
jail.
got really... Yep, we're going to jail. But so that's the marrying age back then.
14.
14, 16.
Sure.
Yeah. So she's thrilled. She meets this guy. He's treating her like a person, right?
Yep.
This is it.
Yep. This has to be it, Dave. I'll
And-
start the car.
After she'd been thinking she was going to spend her whole life alone, she meets this guy she can spend her life with. It's all awesome. Libby was excited. She brought him home to meet her parents. And because he was so much older, she thought it was best if she told her father that they were already married.
Okay, interesting. So this family just has good judgment all around.
Yep. James, however, was not pleased. And when he was introduced to his new son-in-law, who was twice his daughter's age, James thought the older man was just taking advantage of her spoiled state, as he considered it, and the fact that she was so lonesome. James didn't even speak to the man. He just pulled out his revolver and fired a round into his chest.
Excuse me?
What?
You just shot him in the chest?
Yeah, she walked up and she said, "Daddy, this is my husband." Really? Boom! Right in the chest. Just
That's quite a reaction.
he didn't make it. He dropped dead on the porch.
He died.
Yeah, right there.
She brought him in, and he
To me-
fucking killed him.
This is this is for when you're introducing your fiance to your parents. This is like a worst case scenario,
Yeah, it doesn't go much worse.
right?
I mean, and the truth is, too, this is what's so... I mean, this is terrible, but almost funny. Is that before he went in, he probably was like, is this the best way to handle it?
I know, should we?
Why don't we just, maybe this. Go tell him,
Yeah.
give it a couple days to say.
Yeah.
No, trust me. No, he needs to hear this.
Yeah.
We're going in there, and I'm going to actually even tell him that we're fucking married, okay? Watch the look
Okay.
on his face.
I feel like
Look, you don't know him like I do. The only way to get Dad to sign off on something like this is to make him think it's already done.
You know what?
Otherwise, he might shoot you or something
Can
crazy.
you trust me?
Yeah.
I'm 20, 24, 28 around there. You're 14.
I understand.
I just know a little bit more.
I understand.
I know
I'm
a
still
little bit
growing.
more.
I'm going to knock. Dad, I have some amazing news, Father. He's going to love you.
Boosh. Thud. James Haley thought he was completely justified in the shooting, and local law enforcement agreed.
I mean,
No charges were filed.
What? Well,
He did what?
I don't know. I think your father's right. It does look like he fell down some stairs.
He was fucking my daughter.
Look, looks like he fell down a set of stairs.
Case closed.
All right, Libby. Good to see you, you whore.
There was no official inquiry into the shooting.
No.
This also just further cemented in people's mind that Libby was having sex outside of marriage, first with a Comanche and now with an old man.
I mean, why are people always so fixated on what women do?
Oh, God, yeah.
Women's privates are everybody's business.
That's what the whole Taliban is about, and
know,
ISIS.
yeah.
That's really, you boil it down to what it's about. It's about ladies.
Oh, yeah. And then, abortion, it's like, nah,
It's all.
give me that womb.
Yeah, all those fucking what are the crazy right wing Christian.
Teabags?
No, there's the Promise Keepers. You ever heard of the Promise
yeah,
Keepers?
yeah.
Promise Keepers here in America.
Yeah, actually, I have some interesting info I'd like to give you on them. They're really, we're a great organization.
Libby ran away.
Okay.
She fled to Abilene, Kansas.
Oh, you mean the city of whores?
Well, there she got work at a dance hall where she both danced and was a prostitute.
All right. So I'm sorry, maybe people were right.
It was a cow town, and there were a lot of single, lonely men. She met one named William Thompson, whose nickname was Texas Billy. He was 10 years older. She liked that age.
She liked
range.
the age, yeah.
He had boyish good looks, was very charming, and led an exciting life. His family had immigrated from England in 1851, and his brother was already a famous outlaw nicknamed Shotgun Ben. Shotgun Ben had shot his first man at the age of 15. He was also active in Kansas during this time. He ended up shooting like 21 guys. Shotgun
Jesus. What kind of gun did he use?
Ben. A revolver.
Knew it. That's what everyone used back then.
Texas Billy loved to gamble. If he had a losing streak and ran out of money, then he'd sign on to work with a cattle ranch and herd some cattle. So that was like his life. So he'd gamble.
Work,
He'd
lose,
stay as
lose,
long
lose.
as he could gambling, and then if he did run out of money, then he'd be like, all right, I'll get a fucking job.
Hey, I need to work again so I can lose.
And then he'd save up his money. And
This time's going to be different. You ain't going to see me again. Trust me. This is the last time.
But often he would live as a gambler. Billy and Libby shacked up. But she still kept working, dancing, and having sex with gentlemen for money.
Sure.
Back then, dance hall girls made good money and even more if they would have sex.
It's very similar to today, right?
Yeah. Because she loved Billy, she'd give him some of the profits so he could play cards.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have that vagina money to throw around.
I mean, that makes a guy feel good.
Yeah, right? Man, what, you must have come into some good money, huh, Texas?
Yeah. You know, they always say that men have a hard time if their wife makes more money.
Yeah.
Not Billy.
No.
He's totally fine with it.
Well, look, I mean, if you let it go, it seems like a pretty great gig for him.
Billy didn't seem to mind her work, probably because it kept him at the tables. They didn't stay in Abilene. They moved from town to town. More often than not, they were broke. When they came to a new town, they'd try to appear as a normal couple, telling everyone they were married. While it was completely legal for her to be a sex worker, it was illegal in the West for a man and woman to live together if they weren't married.
What? Why? How?
It's just mind-boggling.
The conclusion.
I mean,
it's just if it really just comes down to if something's established. That's all it is. If something has been established, it is.
But she can have sex with people for money.
Yeah, but she
can't live with the guy she loves.
Can't live with the guy she loves. No. No. Well, Dave, she'd be a whore then.
In 1873, Libby went with Billy on a cattle drive. Because he was the trail boss, he was allowed to bring his family. So off they went on a cattle drive from Kansas to Oklahoma. Oh, also she was pregnant, and she gave birth in the wagon to a son named Rance.
I'm okay. Let's take a TO real quick. She gave birth in the wagon.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that is a very hygienic scene. Here, set him in the dung while I cut his umbilical cord with this spoon.
Yeah, but they heated up the spoon.
Boy, he's got a lot of hay on the blood on his back, huh? And then so the miracle of life happens in a wagon.
Yeah.
And the cherry on top of the moment is you name your child something that you used to poison rodent with.
Rance.
Yeah. It sounds like Raid for Ants.
I mean, this is like Francis Bean here.
Oh God, yeah.
4 months later, though, Billy married her. All right. Now, surprisingly, they weren't the best parents. They still kept on the move from town to town, and he was into gambling, and she liked drinking and honky-tonks. Neither of them were home much. They lived for a time in Dodge City, Kansas. They were there during its heyday and became friends with Western celebrities like Wyatt Earp. Mm-hmm. Is your cat looking in a backpack?
I don't know what he's doing. He's in a really weird little mood, and I'm very wary of what's happening with him. The truth is, what he's trying to do is find the laser point.
Ah, right. Fair enough.
Always on him. Right now, he's just like, where did that red dot go?
Yeah. In another town they were in, Billy was pulling an all-nighter with some fellas. When he managed to shoot and kill Sheriff Chauncey Whitney, Billy was locked up, but he maintained the shooting was an accident. But
how do you shoot a sheriff?
I don't know. You're drunk and you take out your gun and you how about this one? Boom.
A sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff too. But the
Kill
locals,
the deputy.
The locals were very fond of the sheriff, and they started talking about forming a lynching party.
Cool.
Billy's cattle employer bailed him out of jail, and Billy got the fuck out of there with his family.
Yes, smart.
But the Texas Rangers hunted him down and brought him back. He stood trial, thinking he was doomed, but somehow the shooting was ruled an accident, and he was set free.
From the creators of Making a Murderer.
But still, he got the hell out of Kansas, taking Libby with him. They ended settling in Sweetwater, Texas, and considered making it their home. They bought a ranch and a dance hall with the money.
A ranch hall.
The dance hall had gambling and a whorehouse.
Why go anywhere else?
It's all there.
It's got all two.
And Libby turned out to be a very good businesswoman.
Okay.
She wasn't shy about how she made her living. When the census was taken, she wrote her occupation as, quote, one who diddles and squirms in the dark.
Wow. She's a bedbug. That's what they thought. She must be an insect.
Wait a minute. We got an insect? And okay.
I think she's a house snake.
What?
They continue to have kids. Libby'd crank out 9 over the years. Yeah, 6 of which were Billy's.
Wait.
Huh?
Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean,
Listen.
I always think about
The Comanches come to town. Old times sake them.
But you got to think about how hard it was to be a prostitute back then. Like,
oh, dude.
I mean, you're just...
It's...
None of it.
It's hats on hats on hats.
Oh.
It's just...
the diseases and the whole...
I don't even want to say the... I think we've maybe talked about this, but I don't even want to say the thing that I don't even want to talk about it. Keep going.
Though he was okay with her working as a prostitute early on, he was less into it as the years went by. They split up and both ended up in different relationships. But these 2 crazy kids couldn't stay apart and they got back together. Just love.
Romeo.
And then Libby was super into prairie dogs. She thought they were really cute.
Well, I do too.
And she started taking them in as pets.
Interesting divided between us. How many, dude? Okay.
When she was in the dance hall, saloon, or brothel, she was often accompanied by a couple of fat little prairie dogs.
There's only right answers to this question, but were they like on her or like walking behind her?
She would take them out of their cages and let them crawl all over her.
Oh, sweet Libby. That might have meant what she was inferring by what she wrote on her census status. She was a prairie dog.
So
okay, so she's walking places.
So
with
she
prairie dogs
would
on her.
scratch them on their head, and they would just love it. They were like lap dogs.
Ugh.
She gave them treats, and she walked them around town on leashes.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, just make everyone know things are fine.
This became her gimmick. So it actually helps the business, right? Because she's the prairie dog lady, and everyone's like, go to the prairie dog. So it's like a...
Oh, you're looking for a whore? Go fuck the woman covered in prairie dogs.
One night she was working, and for whatever reason, she's sitting with the prairie dogs in her lap, and a drunk guy was watching her.
Well,
And he thought it was great. He could not get enough of this lady with prairie dogs all over her.
I like this guy.
And then he noticed she had a gap in her bucked front teeth.
Uh-huh.
So he called her Squirrel Tooth Alice.
Okay. I would hope that would be a fact that... Okay.
Well, first of all, people often confused prairie dogs with squirrels back then.
Okay.
And everyone immediately in the saloon loved the nickname.
The name again is...
Squirrel Tooth Alice.
Squirrel Tooth Alice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much so, and she liked it too, so much so that from that day forward, all her customers and everyone in the town started calling her Squirrel Tooth Alice.
All right. That's who you want coming up with your nicknames. A shit-faced guy who doesn't know you.
And it turned out to be good for business as a name. And her brothel became even more known around the
Just
frontier.
because it said Squirrel Tooth Alice, people are like, that's where you want to fuck.
Yeah, well...
That name's crazy.
It stands out from the other places.
It does.
People know there's a Squirrel Tooth lady there.
But it's basically the same gimmick when like a company will be like, our number is 800-444-4444. It's just...
Yeah, well, it stands out.
Yeah.
That's business. Welcome to business. This is your first business lesson?
No, don't welcome me to business. Okay, I'll welcome you to business.
Squirrel Tooth Alice had a large velvet chair in the saloon next to the stairs. Beside that, she kept her prairie dogs in cages when she wasn't, with them, and she was very protective of her prairie dogs. One night, as she walked down the stairs, she saw 3 grubby, bearded men around the cages. One of them, quite drunk, started poking one of the prairie dogs with a stick. "Boys, I'd thank you to kindly stop that," she said. They turned to see who it was, then laughed at her and went back to it. They assumed she was just one of the dancers.
They didn't know who they were dealing with.
Finally, one of the prairie dogs squealed. So Squirrel Tooth Alice pulled out a revolver and pointed it at the drunk's head. "Don't make me ask you again," she said. He turned around and looked at her and told her to go to hell.
Oh, boy.
And she responded, "I'm on my way." And then she pulled the hammer back on the gun and said, "I don't mind sending you there first."
Jesus.
The men slowly backed off and left the saloon. Squirrel Tooth Alice picked up her prairie dogs and kissed them repeatedly.
I mean, she could have written Michael Bay movies. Go to hell. I'm already on my way. Click. Wouldn't mind sending you there first.
Yeah.
Pretty badass.
Billy took a gambling trip to Colorado to make some extra cash. He was hitting up the mining towns, and while on the trip, Billy got sick. He had the consumption.
He had the consumption. What's the consumption?
Consumption is just, TB or, or other
stuff.
Sort of things. But it was the consumption.
It's not good.
You're going to die.
It's definitely checking the mail dead time.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he returned, Squirrel Tooth Alice quickly realized he was going to die and that she wasn't capable of caring for him, so she put him on a stagecoach and sent him to his family in Texas. Now that's love.
I don't want to go. Get in there.
Yeah. Go ahead, just put him on there and get him out of here. Yeah. He died in 1897. Squirrel Tooth Alice didn't stay single long. She moved in with a man who was only known as Mr. Young soon after. He had 3 kids, so she had 12 kids now altogether.
Good.
And she kept
Sort of like
working.
Prairie Dog.
She kept working at the brothel and saloon until 1921.
So she's...
Yeah. Since she wasn't big on raising her own kids, most of them, the girls followed her into the prostitution profession, and her sons were mostly ended up as criminals.
Cool. Winning.
And Libby died in a rest home in California in 1953 at 98 years old.
Wow. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's amazing to think you could have gone and seen her.
Right?
Yeah.
Just fucking have a chat with that.
Hey, Squirrel Tooth. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. The West was insane.
Well, that's that's why you don't want your daughter to be taken.
Yeah,
by Native Americans.
that's what happens. Or if she comes back, how about loving her? And
but you misunderstand.
I feel like this was pre-therapy years.
Yeah, no, nobody. This is not when anyone talked about what they really felt, ever.
Honey, now that you've been taken by the Indians and you're back, I'm going to send you to see a man that you just talk to. Talk some stuff out. Okay?
I understand that. You've probably had sex with them, but I'm going to be understanding and send you to a professional.
Professional man that you just chat with, and you tell him your feelings. Oh, no, wait a minute. Whore!
Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm going to shoot your fiancé in the chest.
And I'm going to shame you for being human. All right.
Well,
people are awful.
Can I just give you a nickname like that?
Yeah.
That has no connection to anything? I'm going to call you... Blue Sweater Charles.
I love it. It's going to be great for my drug business.
Yeah.
All right.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
We're signing cars.
We're signing cars.
Oh, yes, it's Gareth. Not Gary, stop it. Gare Force, listen, I've got a bunch of stand-up shows coming up, and I want to see you there. We can hug. I will be at Rooster Teeth Feathers in Sunnyvale, California, April 18th, 19th, and 20th. Then I will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, June 18th. I will be at Nashville at Zanies, June 19th. I will be in Huntsville, Alabama, June 20th. I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, June 21st, June 22nd. Then I will be in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, June 26th. Then I'll be in East Providence, Rhode Island, June 27th. Then I'll be in Boston, Massachusetts, and Boston, June 28th. That's 2 shows. I will be in Springfield, Massachusetts, June 29th, Rochester, New York, June 30th, and then July 5th through the 6th. Canada, I've heard your prayers, and I will answer them. I will be in Toronto. So come join me at the Comedy Bar. Go to GarethReynolds.com for tickets and information. That's right, Gareth Force. We're calling you up. It's the big time. The big leagues. This went poorly.
Whether you need basic dentistry or complex tooth replacement or anything in between, you've got to like and trust your dental team. And that's why Aspenwood Dental, my family's dentists, invites you for an absolutely free consultation. Meet the team, meet the doctor, get your questions answered, feel as comfortable with Aspenwood Dental as my family does. Call today to schedule your free consultation, 303-751-3321, or online at aspenwooddental.com.